Chosen one, the deepest wounds in your life often began before you even understood what pain was. Long before you developed language, long before you formed opinions about the world, your emotional foundation was already being shaped. Your mother was the first environment you ever experienced. Her voice, her mood, her stress, and even her silence were absorbed by your nervous system like invisible ink being written on the pages of your soul. Many people spend years trying to heal from anxiety, rejection, and identity confusion, without realizing that some of those feelings were first learned in the earliest moments of life. Psychologists often talk about attachment theory, explaining how a child's bond with their mother can shape confidence, emotional security, and relationships for decades. If the mother was loving and emotionally present, the child usually develops a strong sense of safety. But if the mother was distant, overwhelmed, critical, or emotionally unavailable, the child may grow up feeling like love must be earned or that something is missing inside them. Chosen ones often carry this invisible weight because they are extremely sensitive souls who absorb emotional energy deeply. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever wondered why certain criticisms hurt you more than others? Why rejection can feel like a deep personal wound instead of a simple disappointment? Sometimes the root isn't the present moment at all. It's the echo of an early emotional experience. Understanding this doesn't mean blaming your mother. It means finally seeing the hidden blueprint that shaped your emotional world. Every human being learns who they are by looking into the eyes of another person. For most of us, the very first mirror we ever had was our mother. The way she looked at you, spoke to you, and responded to your emotions created a silent message about your worth. If her gaze carried warmth and encouragement, you learned that you mattered. If her responses were inconsistent or critical, you might have learned to doubt yourself. Chosen ones often grow up feeling misunderstood because their inner world is deeper than most people realize. If a sensitive child grows up in an environment where emotional depth is not understood, that child may start hiding parts of themselves. They may become people pleasers, perfectionists, or quiet observers who feel different from everyone else. Not because they are broken, but because their true identity was never fully reflected back to them. Ask yourself honestly, when you were younger, did you feel seen for who you truly were? Or did you feel like you had to become someone else to receive approval? This question alone can unlock powerful realizations. Healing begins when you start seeing yourself clearly, even if that clarity was missing in the past. When people begin exploring childhood wounds, they often feel guilt for even thinking about their parents critically. Many people say things like, "My mother did the best she could," and that may very well be true. But understanding emotional impact is not the same thing as blaming someone. It simply means acknowledging reality so healing can begin. Your mother had her own life story long before you were born. She carried her own fears, traumas, cultural expectations, and emotional struggles. Sometimes what looks like rejection or criticism from a parent is actually unresolved pain that has been passed down through generations. Emotional patterns travel through families quietly, repeating themselves until someone becomes aware enough to break the cycle. Chosen ones often become the cycle breakers in their families. That role is not easy. It means asking difficult questions and confronting truths that previous generations avoided. But awareness is power. Once you understand the emotional patterns that shaped your upbringing, you gain the ability to rewrite your future. Not everyone processes emotional experiences the same way. Some people brush things off easily, while others feel emotions intensely and remember them for years. Chosen ones usually fall into the second category. They are naturally intuitive, perceptive, and emotionally aware. Because of this sensitivity, the emotional energy of their mother often impacts them more deeply than it would impact someone else. For example, imagine a mother who frequently worried about money or survival. Even if she never spoke about it directly, her child might have absorbed that anxiety unconsciously. As an adult, that child may struggle with financial fear even when they are doing well. They may feel like stability can disappear at any moment because that belief was quietly imprinted early in life. Understanding this connection can feel like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly certain fears, reactions, or habits start making sense. Instead of judging yourself for feeling the way you do, you begin to see the origin of those feelings. And awareness is the first step toward emotional freedom. Many children grow up trying to become the version of themselves that their parents expect. Sometimes those expectations are spoken openly. Other times they exist silently in the background. A mother who values perfection may unknowingly raise a child who becomes afraid of making mistakes. A mother who constantly sacrifices her own needs may raise a child who believes they must always put others first. Chosen ones often develop strong empathy because they spent years sensing what others needed emotionally. They learned how to read moods, avoid conflict, and adapt their personality to keep peace in the household. While this skill can make them compassionate adults, it can also make them forget their own needs and desires. Healing begins when you ask yourself a powerful question. Who would I be if I stopped living according to expectations that were never truly mine? This is where your real identity begins to emerge. The version of you that isn't defined by childhood roles, emotional survival strategies, or inherited beliefs. Chosen one, even when we grow older and create our own lives, an invisible emotional cord often remains between a mother and her child. This connection is not just psychological. Many experts in human development explain that early emotional bonds shape the way our brains respond to stress, love, and trust. Long after childhood ends, the patterns formed in those first relationships continue influencing our reactions to people and situations. You may notice this connection when certain words, tones, or situations trigger strong emotions inside you. Maybe criticism from someone instantly brings back feelings of not being good enough. Maybe silence from someone you love makes you anxious or afraid of abandonment. These reactions are rarely random. They often echo experiences from childhood that quietly shaped how you interpret love, safety, and belonging. Understanding this emotional cord is not meant to trap you in the past. It is meant to help you finally see why certain patterns repeat in your life. When awareness enters the picture, the cord begins to loosen. The emotional reactions that once controlled you slowly transform into understanding and wisdom. For many chosen ones, the relationship with their mother carried both love and pain at the same time. This mixture can create deep confusion. You may remember moments of care, warmth, or protection, yet also carry memories of criticism, emotional distance, or misunderstanding. Because both experiences existed together, the heart struggles to process them clearly. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional conflict in attachment. A child wants love and safety from their parent, but if that same parent is also the source of emotional pain, the mind learns to survive by suppressing certain feelings. The child grows up trying to earn love or avoid disapproval, believing that acceptance must be worked for rather than naturally given. Chosen one, recognizing this pattern can feel uncomfortable at first, but it also brings clarity. You begin to understand that the confusion you felt was never weakness. It was simply the result of growing up in a space where love and pain existed side by side. One of the most powerful truths many people discover is that emotional patterns rarely begin with just one generation. Often, the struggles your mother carried were inherited from her own upbringing. She may have grown up in a household where emotions were suppressed, where survival mattered more than expression, or where criticism replaced encouragement. Studies on generational trauma suggest that emotional behaviors can travel through families like invisible traditions. A mother who never learned how to express affection may struggle to show warmth to her children. A parent who experienced constant pressure may unintentionally repeat the same expectations. These patterns are not always intentional. They are often simply learned behaviors. Chosen ones frequently become aware of these cycles. They notice emotional patterns repeating across generations and begin questioning them. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to break the cycle. When you understand where certain patterns came from, you gain the ability to choose a different path. If you have ever felt like the different one in your family, you are not alone. Many chosen ones describe growing up feeling emotionally or mentally separate from the people around them. Their thoughts were deeper, their questions more reflective, and their emotional awareness stronger than what their environment seemed prepared to understand. This difference sometimes leads to conflict with a mother who may not fully grasp the depth of her child's inner world. Instead of encouragement, the child may hear phrases like, "You're too sensitive," or "You think too much." Over time, those words can make a person doubt their natural emotional intelligence. But what once felt like a weakness is often a hidden strength. Sensitivity allows chosen ones to perceive emotional truths others overlook. The very awareness that made you feel misunderstood as a child may later become the reason you understand people, emotions, and life more deeply than many others ever will. Healing often begins with a single realization. The past shaped you, but it does not have to control your future. When chosen ones start examining their relationship with their mother honestly, they begin seeing patterns that once seemed invisible. Emotional triggers suddenly make sense. Certain fears reveal their origins. This moment of awareness can feel both emotional and liberating. Some people experience grief for the understanding they never received. Others feel relief because they finally understand themselves more clearly. Both reactions are natural. Growth often begins with a mixture of truth and emotion. Chosen one, the purpose of this realization is not to stay stuck in the past. It is to free yourself from confusion. Once you understand the emotional blueprint of your early life, you gain the power to redesign the way you see yourself, your worth, and the relationships you choose moving forward. Chosen one, healing requires confronting the parts of yourself shaped by early experiences that may feel uncomfortable or even shameful. Many of us carry hidden beliefs instilled by our mothers, such as, "I am not enough," "I must please others to be loved," or "My feelings don't matter." These messages can operate unconsciously for years, subtly guiding decisions, relationships, and self-worth. Facing this shadow does not mean rejecting your mother. It means acknowledging the ways early conditioning influenced you. It's a moment of courage, of standing in truth without fear. Recognize that every fear, insecurity, or recurring pattern often has roots in the invisible lessons of childhood. Once illuminated, these shadows lose power over your life. When you consciously confront these patterns, a remarkable transformation begins. Chosen ones often discover that what once seemed like limitations are actually keys to their awakening. Each moment of recognition is a step toward reclaiming the identity and freedom that have always been your birthright. Many chosen ones never received the emotional validation they needed as children. Feeling seen and understood is critical for building self-worth. Yet some mothers, for reasons beyond your control, struggled to provide this. The absence of validation can leave lingering doubts about whether your emotions are legitimate or important. Healing starts with giving yourself the validation that may have been missing. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment, whether it's sadness, anger, or joy. Speak kindly to yourself and recognize your worth. Validation is not dependent on another's recognition. It begins internally as a conscious act of self-love. When you honor your emotions, you begin to reclaim your power. Chosen ones often find that this practice rewires the nervous system, allowing them to experience relationships with greater clarity, compassion, and resilience. Your inner voice becomes your guide, rather than the echoes of unresolved childhood patterns. Even as adults, chosen ones can unconsciously repeat behaviors that mirror early experiences. Perhaps you seek approval in unhealthy ways, self-sabotage in relationships, or avoid expressing your true desires. These patterns are not flaws, They are echoes of survival mechanisms your mind adopted during childhood. Awareness is the first step in breaking these cycles. Begin by observing recurring behaviors without self-criticism. Ask yourself, which of my reactions are truly mine and which are inherited patterns? Journaling, therapy, or deep meditation can reveal hidden scripts embedded in your subconscious. Once recognized, these patterns can be consciously transformed. Chosen ones have the power to rewrite the internal narrative. What once controlled your life can now serve as a teacher, guiding you toward emotional freedom and conscious living. Understanding your mother's influence allows you to separate your true self from imposed expectations. For many chosen ones, identity was unconsciously shaped by parental desires, societal pressure, or the need to survive emotionally. Healing means peeling away these layers to uncover who you truly are at the core. This is not a process of rebellion, it is an act of reclamation. Ask yourself, who am I beyond these inherited roles and patterns? Slowly, you begin to define your own values, desires, and truths. Your identity becomes rooted in authenticity rather than approval-seeking. Chosen ones who undertake this journey often experience a profound sense of liberation. The freedom to choose who you are allows creativity, joy, and emotional depth to flourish. Your life becomes a reflection of your own soul rather than a reenactment of old stories. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not about excusing past harm or pretending pain never existed. For chosen ones, true forgiveness is about releasing the hold that unresolved emotions have over your present life. It is an act of self-liberation, allowing you to heal without condoning the actions that caused hurt. Forgiving your mother or any parent can be especially challenging. It may involve understanding her limitations, the generational trauma she carried, and the ways she acted unconsciously. Yet this understanding transforms resentment into clarity, bitterness into acceptance, and judgment into compassion. When forgiveness is embraced as a tool for freedom, chosen ones unlock their ability to fully inhabit their own lives. They can finally act from a place of choice rather than reaction. This is a pivotal moment in the journey of healing, where past pain becomes a teacher rather than a cage. Chosen one, holding onto unresolved emotions from your childhood acts like carrying a backpack filled with invisible weight. Every disappointment, every misunderstood moment, and every unspoken need contributes to this burden. Releasing emotional baggage is not about erasing the past, it's about letting go of what no longer serves your growth. Begin by identifying recurring emotional triggers. Notice which situations evoke feelings tied to your mother's influence. Journaling, deep reflection, or guided meditation can help you observe these patterns objectively. Once seen, you can consciously choose to release them, understanding that they were lessons, not lifelong sentences. The act of releasing creates space for new energy. Chosen ones often experience a lightness they never knew existed. With emotional weight lifted, clarity emerges, allowing you to move forward with greater confidence, joy, and freedom. Every act of letting go is an act of reclaiming your true power. Understanding the influence of your mother also reveals the source of your hidden strength. Chosen ones possess intuitive wisdom, emotional depth, and spiritual sensitivity that can feel overwhelming at times. Once you face your past and release what holds you back, your inner power begins to flow unhindered. This power manifests as self-assurance, resilience, and an ability to navigate life with heightened awareness. You start noticing opportunities, connections, and moments that previously went unseen. Your emotional intelligence becomes a tool, helping you build healthier relationships and make decisions aligned with your true self. Remember, chosen one, your power is not about domination. It is about alignment with your authentic identity. When you embrace this energy, life begins to respond in ways that reflect your inner clarity and strength. Every chosen one carries a sacred blueprint, a spiritual design unique to your soul. Your mother's influence may have shaped early patterns, but your blueprint remains intact, waiting for recognition and activation. Understanding the lessons of your upbringing allows you to step fully into the life you were meant to live. This alignment involves conscious reflection on your gifts, passions, and purpose. Ask yourself, what resonates deeply within me, beyond external expectations? Meditation, self-inquiry, and connecting with your intuition can reveal the roadmap your soul is waiting to follow. Once aligned with your blueprint, your life begins to feel purposeful and harmonious. Chosen ones often experience synchronicities, clarity in decision-making, and a deep sense of fulfillment. The pain of the past becomes a guiding force rather than an obstacle. Walking in your identity means living unapologetically as the person you were born to be. The influence of your mother, though significant, no longer dictates your emotions, choices, or sense of worth. You step forward with courage, integrity, and self-awareness. Chosen ones often feel called to inspire, heal, and illuminate the world around them. This identity is not about perfection. It is about authenticity, growth, and conscious living. You embrace your sensitivity as strength, your emotional depth as guidance, and your past as the foundation for transformation. Each step you take in alignment with your authentic self strengthens your soul and radiates energy that impacts others positively. You are not just surviving, you are thriving in the fullness of your spiritual inheritance. Chosen one, healing is not a destination. It is a journey of understanding, awareness, and self-compassion. By acknowledging the influence of your mother, releasing emotional baggage, and stepping into your sacred blueprint, you reclaim your life and your power. Every emotion, every memory, and every pattern carries a message meant to guide you. Embrace them, learn from them, and allow them to illuminate the path ahead. You are capable of profound transformation, and your journey inspires others who are awakening around you. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to reflect. What patterns are you ready to release today? What truths about your past are you ready to face with courage and love? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss empowering insights from Anointed Era. Your awakening continues here, and the next chapter of your life awaits.